Stephanie. That was awesome. Thank you guys for hanging in there. It seems like a long time since I got here in the morning and welcomed you and said good morning, so good afternoon. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We still have coffee and we've got ice cream coming, so definitely worth the wait, but we appreciate you guys hanging in here. I want to start by saying thank you again for coming to commemorate this important day. It's also our founder Giovanna's birthday today, so really appreciate you guys being here to celebrate with us together. What a testament of the difference one person living with a rare disease can make in the lives of so many. I hope today you've been able to connect with one another and see that not only are you not alone, but you're in great company. I had a couple people say they've just met some wonderful people, and that's exactly why we do this. We want that to be your experience. My mother and I attended our first NET Cancer Day symposium at the City of Hope in 2019. I remember finding it hopeful that so many incredible medical experts were working diligently in diverse fields of research, pharmaceuticals, nuclear medicine, surgery, and in clinic on behalf of patients and caregivers. And all of those essentially affected by neuroendocrine cancer. Just being here today, you're increasing awareness. I'm sure friends and family asked you today, where are you going? What do you have going on today? What's happening Saturday? And I'm sure you were happy to tell them, hey, I'm going to a neuroendocrine tumor conference. And they were like, what's neuroendocrine tumor? So just by being here today, you've already spread the word and spread awareness. Education is a fundamental facet of awareness. You never know when knowledge or familiarity may create a meaningful connection. Last Friday, I got a call from my sister, who's a principal in elementary school. One of her teachers shared that her husband had recently been diagnosed with neuroendocrine cancer, hindgut. She was wondering if that's the same cancer my mom had, and if she could help and share any more information. The really important part of that was it was the day before open enrollment closed. So they were able to make some major changes that will now give them access to NET experts they would not have had access to before. One day. In this brief exchange, I'm sorry about that. Excuse me on that. Being able to speak to or share your own journey or connection to NET may help someone newly diagnosed, looking for more information, or just being able to truly empathize with someone who can relate to this unique disease. Your experiences and wisdom, earned and shared, can make someone else's journey easier. Not knowing what to expect with a treatment or procedure can cause anxiety and be overwhelming. It's so helpful to be able to connect with someone who has been through it to ease that uncertainty. Even if their experience it differs from yours, it can be comforting and reassuring just to have an idea of what to expect and how to better prepare. Knowledge is power. Your experience is powerful. By sharing your story, you're paving the way and allowing the next person's experience to be a little simpler. Awareness can be spread even making the distinction of or explaining more about the cancer you're living with. For instance, there have been countless times when I explained to friends, family, and strangers that my mom did not have pancreatic cancer or adenocarcinoma, but instead was living with pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer, which is typically not as aggressive as pancreatic cancer, and that most are aware of the unfortunate diagnosis. I also take the opportunity to explain that NET is a cancer that affects neuroendocrine cells, which are cells that produce hormones, in response to signals from the nervous system. These cells are responsible for performing essential functions in the body. NETs can be found anywhere in the body where there are neuroendocrine cells, but 75% of all NETs are of the GI and pancreatic origin. But pulmonary NETs are also common, as Dorinda pointed out for us earlier today, and originate in the lungs. By educating yourself, you're able to ask more vital questions in regards to your healthcare and treatment, and allows you to be more comfortable talking about neuroendocrine cancer with others. This further increases awareness and familiarity of neuroendocrine tumor, how it behaves, and how it is treated. I'm always grateful when a friend or family member put someone newly diagnosed in touch with me and LACNETS resources because of their awareness and recognition that cancer affected my family and that I work for a patient advocacy and education organization. So much has changed since my mother was diagnosed with the not even garden variety type of cancer, or not even a cancer. It was a cancer-like disease. They did know that it was incurable. But in 2024, you hear NET described in many ways. Neuroendocrine tumor, neuroendocrine neoplasm, which also includes neuroendocrine carcinoma, and is often still referred to as carcinoid, which Dr. Hendefar explained earlier today, the origin of that word. We use neuroendocrine cancer, not NET cancer, but neuroendocrine cancer. Although not the most medically specific, it's the broadest term and helps pay off the fact that this is indeed a cancer. As many of you know, or have at least noticed, neuroendocrine cancer is associated with zebras and zebra print. Not just because we really like wearing zebra. The reason or meaning behind that is that in medical school and clinical training, doctors are taught that when they hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. Meaning, go with the more common cause or diagnosis instead of jumping to zebras or a rare or unusual conclusion. Essentially prioritizing the simplest, most common explanation based on presented symptoms before jumping to a rare or unusual one. This may avoid unnecessary testing and diagnostics, which makes it easy to understand why most NETs are found incidentally while being seen for other medical reasons, and often when very urgent or even critical. NETs are considered rare tumors, although the incidence of NETs has continued to increase, with approximately 12,000 people being diagnosed in the US each year. There are roughly 175 to 200,000 people currently living in the US with neuroendocrine tumor. Due in part to the rarity of the disease, NETs are often misdiagnosed for 5 to 7 years, and nearly 50% of NETs have already metastasized at the time of diagnosis. Another reason zebras are ideal to represent rare disease is because, like human fingerprints, no two zebras have matching stripes. Each is unique, like those living with neuroendocrine. The diagnosis, symptoms, and sequencing, efficacy, and side effects of those treatments are unique as well. Although the increased incidence of NETs may be attributed to advanced testing and more awareness and knowledge of neuroendocrine tumor in the medical community, we want to enforce and reinforce that momentum. We want to ensure it's not underdiagnosed and make zebra hoofbeats a top-of-mind consideration in the healthcare community. In order to achieve the goal of earlier diagnosis, we need to help increase overall awareness of NET amongst those who may be having unexplained symptoms and the healthcare professionals, and for those healthcare professionals caring for them. Last year's campaign slogan, that, as Stephanie pointed out, was easily missed. Take a closer look at neuroendocrine cancer. It reached an audience of over 30 million in social media and brought the uncommon cancer hidden behind common symptoms into public attention. In 2024, that NET Cancer Day campaign reaffirms the core message with that same slogan. So tomorrow, on NET Cancer Day, be sure to visit lacnets.org/net-awareness or Inca's site that features Inca's unified NET Cancer Day campaign that allows you to easily share fun social media posts and also email. You don't have to be on social media. There are posters you can customize and a zebra ribbon to upload and share. We would also love your help in increasing awareness with your, as Stephanie mentioned, with primary care and any and all of the ologists you interact with, which, because we need multidisciplinary care with neuroendocrine, it's a lot of them. But also, what about the nurses giving you those injections? What about the radiology tech? What about when you're sitting in the waiting room and meeting and talking with other people? We want to be able to pass along and increase awareness for all in the medical community. We've created a postcard that allows you, we've created a postcard that you can give to any of your healthcare providers that explains the goal of raising awareness of the signs and symptoms of NET to encourage earlier diagnosis. The QR code on the back connects the provider to the information of NANETS, the North American Neuroendocrine Tumor Society, INCA, who Stephanie spoke to us about, and ASCO GI, which is the American Society of Clinical Oncology. All of these organizations offer continuing medical education in both regional and national conferences. NANETS will actually be having a regional conference here in this LA area in May. So we'll keep you guys apprised of that to let them know. Have anyone there come. Again, nurses, PAs, nurse practitioners, have them come attend that in May. It will benefit everyone. Another way to make a significant impact and help with early detection and diagnosis is to participate in focus groups, surveys, clinical trials, and these types of educational events where we can interact with our sponsors who represent the brilliant scientific and medical minds working on you and your loved one's behalf. So everyone here, their companies are invested in improving your life and making you live richly and fully. So everything you're doing here today helps. The conversations you've had with them helps move the needle forward. Lisa and I are fortunate enough to get to go behind the scenes often at a few of these exceptional companies and appreciate firsthand the extraordinary efforts being made to ensure your next Lutatherados, SSA injection, copper 64 dotatate PET, and novel therapies, and the next clinical trial are happening. Fortunately, there are many things in the pipeline for NET, as you've seen and heard today. And your voice, your experience, and your insight matters to their important work. Our sponsors want to help you live richly and fully and bridge the gaps in healthcare. Your stories of hope and strength and perseverance inspire and fuel many to continue their challenging work. Your journeys inspire us and one another as well. I'm inspired by all of you here today. Please continue to visit. We'll take it up a notch and, oops. Oh, we've got that right on there. Yes, so please continue to visit and advocate the Advocate tab on the LACNETS.org/NET awareness page, and we will continue to feature ways to share your story and increase awareness to help others living with NET and the physicians treating them. Again, we appreciate your attendance and the efforts you're making to educate and advocate for yourself. If you can pass along this information to even one or two providers, we can collectively and exponentially spread awareness. My mom lived richly and fully for 12 years with pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor and functioning gastrinomas. I am personally driven to continue to spread awareness. So sometimes difficult journeys, like my mother and family went through, with mistaken or underdiagnosed symptoms, won't happen to you or your families. A lovely NET caregiver who made this beautiful bracelet for me taught me that a group of zebras is referred to as a dazzle. The term comes from the visual effect created when a group of zebras run together, which makes it difficult for predators to focus on an individual zebra. This phenomenon is known as motion dazzle. I cannot think of a more appropriate term, as I am dazzled by the brilliance and strength of this community daily. There's power in numbers and power in a collective goal and unified approach. Thank you again for attending today, continuing to dazzle and shine. And now we're gonna liven it up.